So, what is Stoicism? You might ask. So, Stoicism in itself, Stoicism in itself, it holds obviously many ideas, many thoughts, many philosophical um, viewpoints to look at things. So, Stoicism, as it's interpreted widely, as it's interpreted as a whole by the masses, um, just a heads up, I'm not very educated in Stoicism. I've yet to read even Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, but which I'm gonna read. I'm gonna start reading, but whatever. I'm just saying, um, Stoicism, as it's interpreted widely, like the perception of it, it's like being a rock. It is almost like emotionless. Whatever happens around you, like you're a rock in a say in an environment, a harsh environment. You just stay there. You don't react much. You don't feel much. The world happens and you're just there. So that's just how I guess it's interpreted widely, and how like you see the videos with millions of views on stoicism. I guess that's what they convey. I mean, that's like not what they mean to convey, but that's I guess what it comes out as. But there is a deeper layer to this, which is the like what is stoicism in itself. So the line that best describes this, it is um, a stoic lives in accordance to nature. So what nature is in itself is is widely misinterpreted as well, just like stoicism is. Wait a second. Just close the door behind me. But how stoicism is interpreted, that's just how the word nature in this sentence or in this uh, quote is interpreted as well, which is the fact like nature. What do you imagine when you think of nature? You think of say birds, trees, or whatever. But nature is uh, in context of say the laws of nature. No, no, the laws of like the laws which govern nature, like the nature of a human being. Nature in that sense is what I mean here. So nature in the sense of as a human being, what is the nature of a human being, right? Nature of maybe say physics. What is physics? So maybe nature of the universe, right? So what is the nature of the universe? If you had to describe that, I'd say physics, right? That is the nature of the universe because that's what the universe does. That's what is within the nature of the universe to act accordance to physics, act in accordance to science. Biology, physics, chemistry, it happens in accordance to that. And it does not change. So like the nature is everlasting basically. So living in accordance to nature is that of nature in accordance to what our nature is as human beings. So, what is our nature? You might ask. That is reason, because that is reasoning, is what our species, Homo sapiens, that reasoning is what differentiates us from other species, right? So, say birds, what is their say nature? You might say the nature is um, to fly. I mean that is an odd representation of what their nature is. But I guess every other species other than ours, they don't have reasoning capabilities. I'm so sorry. They don't have reasoning capabilities as much as ours is. Well, obviously, right? So I guess if you had to say anything, if you had to go for a unique characteristic for every species or every kind of animal there is, you could say for aerial species that fly, you could say this nature is flying. If you had to go for aquatic species, you could say this or the nature is swimming, I guess, or just. swimming in the water, I guess. That's how you say it. The point being, reasoning is what differentiates us from other species in general. So I guess that is what describes so stoicism best. It is when you live in accordance to your own nature, what you are supposed to be. Yeah. So I'll get another point. So the reasoning aspect of it, what does it entail? What does it bring to the table? When you get reasoning, when you have reasoning capabilities, what do you get basically? If you see chimpanzees, by the way, like how they function, chimpanzees, like every animal out there. I mean, chimpanzees, they are like a closer uh, species to ours, so they're very very far, but they still are kind of similar in some sense, right? So if you see chimpanzees, their thinking of the long term is almost zero, right? There was actually an experiment conducted in some kind of chimpanzee enclosure or monkey enclosure or something, and they found out that chimpanzees are like 10 times or like they have a lot better short-term memory than ours is, right? Short-term memory or short-term cognition, right? So I guess that very well explains where they lack, which is long-term cognition or long-term thinking in general. So I guess that's where you know humans prevail, which is in long-term thinking. So long-term thinking is basically like you can think 1,000 years into the future, but that does not mean you'll like you can think 1,000 years into the future. That sounds like a good thing, but that can sound like a bad thing as well. You can think thousand, like you can think of those 1,000 years as something. You can think those 1,000 years as having a characteristic, or you can attribute a certain quality to those 1,000 years. So those 1,000 years, you might attribute those 1,000 years to suffering, right? And one might do it to say prosperity, a fulfillment, satisfaction, or whatnot. Good words, basically. So that is where human cognition steps in, where it can act as a disadvantage in a humongous advantage. Humongous advantage being you can think thousand years into the future. The disadvantage being you can attribute things to them, and they can be anything you attribute to them, and they literally kind of become reality to your own brain. So what I mean is that is where the disadvantage is, right? So I guess that is the general human functioning of our own brain. You can think of the future, but you can also attribute things to them. That is where anxiety comes in as well. Like in general anxiety, what is it? How do you define anxiety? It is just rumination. Rumination is a wrong word, but just thinking of the future, I guess. And if you think of the future, and anxiety is usually when it's in a negative context. So if you think in a negative context continuously, that will, I guess, be um, anxiety that's forming there. So that's causing you physical pain, not physical pain, but a lot of cognitive energy gone, a lot of actually, it can actually um, convert into physical pain. Like the anxiety and stuff, it can convert into physical pain, like not convert, but they can just appear in that form as well. If you're doing anxious, you will just like feel tired, you will feel fatigued because you are using your mental cognition to like crazy amounts and stuff. But whatever, point being, your brain can think, and that is, I guess, you had to say, like a double-edged sword, right? You can think and you can think. They're both positive and negatives. And I guess you can't have a positive without a negative, I guess. So yeah, that will be the video, I guess. No, I have to make another point, which is just being nature of the brain. It is to think. I'll end this. Bye bye. That's all I had to say. It was a point out of a video I watched. I wanted to summarize it. Alright. And this is actually, I can't end this. I just have to say, this is learning I'm doing. I'm trying to learn to speak and stuff. So yeah. Bye bye. Sayonara, mi amigas.